Hi guys, this is Kimberly from Lakeside Loops, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Watson waffle crochet mittens. You will need to head to my blog lakesideloops.com to find the written pattern. All the instructions are there. There are sizes from baby all the way up to adult, large, the amount of yarn that is needed. All of the information is there, stitch counts, so you will need to go to the blog. This video will just go over the basics for one size. So if you're making multiple sizes or you need the full directions, you're gonna have to be on the website, lakesideloops.com. You can also go to Etsy or Ravelry to purchase a downloadable, printable version of this pattern. All right, I love patterns that give you options, and this one's no exception. So you can do these mittens without a cuff or with a cuff, and you add the cuff detail at the end of the pattern. So you can make the entire mitten and then decide if you want to add a cuff or not. This is without. I think it's really cute, but more practically speaking, if you want your wrists to stay warm, then adding a cuff is also a nice touch. So these mittens are worked from the bottom up, and then the cuff is added at the end. So you're going to be starting here and then going up to the top of the mitten, then adding the thumb, and then we'll flip the mitten upside down and crochet this way if you want to add a cuff. I'll show you how to do it all. Alright, so for this video tutorial, I'm going to be making the smallest size, the baby size. So I'm going to chain 28. If you are hoping to make larger mittens, again, you just head to the blog, lakesideloops.com, and you can find your beginning chain length there. Alright, so once you've finished your beginning chain, you're going to go back to the very first chain that you made, and you're going to join your last chain to your first chain with a slip stitch. So you want to make sure that your chain is straight, that it's not twisted, and you're going to bring this around to make a circle. And you're going to take your hook and you're going to put it in to that very first chain that you made. And you can see how all of my chains are sort of facing outward so that my chain is not twisted. And I'm just going to make a slip stitch. So I'm going to grab my yarn and pull it through the first chain and pull it through that loop that was on my hook. Now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to half double crochet all the way around. So I've chained 2, and I'm going to half double crochet. And because I'm working on the baby size, I should have 27 half double crochets when I'm done. Alright, so I've half double crocheted all the way around, and now I'm just going to join to the top of my beginning chain, so right in here, with a slip stitch to finish off that first round. Now round 2, we're going to chain 2, and this is where we're going to start to work the waffle a little bit, and we're working our mittens from the bottom up. So whatever color you want, I should have said this before now, but whatever color you want the bottom half of your mittens to be is what you should be using right now. So I chained 2, and now we're going to front post double crochet around the next stitch and then double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So I've got my yarn ready to do a front post double crochet and then 2 regular crochets. So you can see I've worked around that post. So I'm going to go into this stitch and work a double crochet, and then into the next stitch and work a double crochet. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm going to do another front post double crochet around this stitch and then 2 regular double crochets. So you can see how I double crocheted into this stitch. So this is the one that I'm going to do my front post double crochet around. We're working in groups of 3s, and you should have 27 stitches when you're done. So when you're done, you can just go along, and not including your chain, you can just count the number of stitches you have along the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. you should have 27, and then you can reattach to your top of your beginning chain with a slip stitch to finish off round 2. All right, so I've just finished round 2 and now we're on to round 3. I've already chained 2. We're going to front post double crochet around this next stitch. All of these front post double crochets are always going to be front post double crochets. They're going to be this line that goes up your mitten, this side of the waffle. So we're going to front post double crochet around that first stitch, and then we're going to back post double crochet around the next 2 stitches. So these 2 stitches here are going to be back post double crochets. So I grab my yarn, and instead of going like this, I'm going to go behind up to the front and then back to behind again, and that's a back post double crochet. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around. A front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet, back post double crochet. And you can sort of see the waffle. You can kind of see it now. You can see it taking shape. All right, so I finished round 3, and round 4 you will see is just a repeat of round 2. So I would be chaining 2, front post double crochet, and then double crochet, front post double crochet, all the way around, and then row 5 would be a repeat of row 3. So you're just going to be repeating row 2 and row 3 until you reach, and it will tell you in the written pattern when to stop. So in my case, because I'm working the baby size, I'm going to stop once I've completed round 8. All right, so I have completed round 8 of my baby size, and you can count your rows. Every square is rounds. Every square is 2 rounds, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So I've completed 8 rounds. Again, if you're making a larger size, you're going to need to complete more rounds before moving on to this next step, which is the thumb hole. And you're going to see in the written pattern that the instructions get divided into 2 columns, because depending on whether you're making the right hand mitten or the left hand mitten, you need to put your thumb hole in a different place. So the column on this side of the pattern is for the right hand mitten. As you can see, the thumb hole is right there, and the instructions on the other side are for the left hand mitten. Everything's labeled, but it just basically, the difference is where you leave your gap for the thumb to go. So on this hand, I want my thumb hole here, and on this mitten, I want my thumb hole there. So I'm going to show you what to do for the right hand mitten, and the instructions for the left hand are exactly the same, except you just work a few more stitches before you leave your hole. All right, so because I'm working the baby size, this is going to be my 9th round. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to front post double crochet around the next stitch. Now we're going to leave our gap for our thumb hole. So I'm going to chain 5. Now I'm going to skip 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to front post double crochet around my next stitch. And now I'm going to back post double crochet around the next 2 stitches. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. And now I'm just going to repeat that, the front post and then the 2 back posts all the way around. And as you can see, I've created, well, I can't try this one on, but that's a baby size thumb hole. All right, so for the next round, we're going to chain 2. We're going to front post double crochet around that first stitch. And now we're going to double crochet in each of these chains. So in my case, 5 double crochets, and I don't want to go right into the hole and completely bypass going into the chain, because we're going to need these bottom loops to attach our thumb. So I'm just going to go into the chain and work my double crochet, and you can see I'm left with a little loop at the bottom, and that's going to come in handy when we attach our thumbs to these thumb holes. So again, in my case, I only need to do 5 double crochets, but if you're working on a larger size, you might have to do more double crochets. Just follow the instructions on the blog. Now we're going to front post double crochet. And I always go back and just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. All right, now we're going to double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and that's going to be our repeat for this round, is the front post double crochet and then double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. We're just getting right back into doing our waffles again. All right, so this is one of the larger size mittens, but I just wanted to grab it and show you very quickly. This is my baby size here that I'm still working on. The next couple of rounds are just going to be basic, the ones you've done before, just to work up a little bit more of the waffle. And then if you want to switch colors, simply grab a second color and switch, and it'll tell you in the pattern exactly where to do that. And then again, you continue with the waffle stitch. If you wanted to make this mitten without a thumb, all you have to do is simply, instead of following the instructions, those 2 rounds that we did to create this thumb hole, instead of following that, simply continue with the waffle stitch until you get to this point and then change colors. And then at the top of the mitten, which is what I'm going to go over next, I'll show you how we close this off. All right, so again, I'm working on the baby size, so I've just completed round 17. So you should be stopping with an incomplete square. So you can see here I have a full square, and this is just the bottom half of my next square. And for the next round in the baby size, which would be, so this for me is round 18. If you're working the next size up, it's round 22, round 26, round 30, round 30, or round 32. And we're going to chain 2, and we're going to be doing some decreases here. So we're trying to shrink the top of our mitten up so we can close it up nice and neatly. So I've chained 2, I'm going to front post double crochet around my first stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 together. So I've yarned over, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch, bring my yarn through, yarn over and pull through just 2. I'm going to yarn over again, insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 3. Now I'm going to front post double crochet around the next stitch, and then do another decrease. So double crochet 2 together, front post double crochet. So all of these middle sections here, we're turning them into just 1 stitch all the way around. Alright, so I've completed that round, and now our next round is going to be a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet. So we had double crocheted these 2 together, so we're going to be working around that whole giant section in the middle to work our back post double crochet. So again, a front post double crochet, and then your back post double crochet goes around all of this. So I'm going to grab my yarn and bring it all the way around all of that to complete my back post double crochet. You shouldn't do that all the way around. Alright, so this round is going to look a little bit different depending on which size you're working on, so make sure you take a peek at your written instructions. But for the baby size, we're going to be front post double crocheting 2 posts together. So I've chained 2, I'm going to grab my yarn, we're going to be front post double crocheting this post and this post together. We're going to completely skip over this middle section. So I've grabbed my yarn, I'm going to go around my post like that, grab my yarn and bring it over to the other side. Now I'm going to grab my yarn and go through just 2. I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to go to my next post, and I'm going to grab my yarn and pull that around. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. So that has joined these 2 posts together, and it has completely ignored this middle section. Now we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to repeat that. So we're going to front post double crochet these 2 posts together and then double crochet into the next stitch, completely ignoring this guy in here. So just go through 2, and I'm going to yarn over again, go around my next post. All right, for some of the sizes, when you get to the end of your round, you're going to have 2 stitches left. So you kind of have to stop short, and you're going to front post double crochet around this stitch, and then just double crochet into this stitch. That's just for some of the sizes. Some of the other sizes, as you'll see in the written instructions, you can go right to the end of your round. And then you're just going to slip stitch into your beginning chain. Now, that was the last decrease. So now we're going to, I'm going to leave a long tail because I'm going to use this tail to close up the end of this mitten. So I'm going to leave a good long tail, and I'm just going to pull it through. Now we're going to turn our mittens inside out. I'm going to make sure that tail comes out the top with me. Where did it go? All right, now we're going to lay our mitten flat so that our side seam right there, you can kind of look and see everything looks nice and neat, and you can tell there's a side seam there. We're going to lay that flat. We're going to make sure, sorry, we're going to lay our mitten flat and make sure our side seam is along the side. So you want the top of your mitten, you want that tail to be right on the edge. You don't want it to be in the middle. You want it on the side, which means your seam is also along the side, and your mitten is flat. Now I'm going to take my crochet, I'm actually going to flip this over, and I'm just going to insert my hook here, and I'm just going to slip stitch the end of this mitten together. So I'm just going to go along the top, insert my hook into both the front and the back, grab my yarn, and pull it through to make slip stitches all the way across the top, and then you'll have closed up the top of your mitten. Just pull that through. There you go. And you can turn your mitten right side out. And now I'm going to show you how to add the thumb to your thumb hole and the cuff if you would like to add a cuff. You can see how cute that turned out. Alright, so I've skipped ahead and I've crocheted my little thumb here. It's pretty basic. You're just working in the round. It's just like making a little hat for your thumb. So your hole for your thumb, we skipped 5 stitches here, and we did a chain of 5 here. So that's 5 and 5, that's 10. And then if you add 1 stitch on either side, that's 12, which happens to be the number of stitches in my thumb hole round, or my thumb round. So I am going to attach this by slip stitching all the way around this hole and this hat, or this little thumb hat. That's what I'm going to call thumbs, mitten thumbs from now on, is thumb hats. This little thumb, I'm going to slip stitch around this and slip stitch around the hole to join them together. So I'm going to do 1 stitch for every one that was skipped, or every chain. So that'll be 5. And then on the sides, I'm going to do a slip stitch around this front post double crochet and around this front post double crochet to attach this to the mitten. All right, so to begin, I am going to insert my hook into my thumb hat, and I am going to put my hook around this first front post double crochet. I'm going to grab, I left a really long tail on my thumb hat, and I'm going to grab the yarn and pull it around this front post double crochet and then through the stitch on my thumb. And now I'm going to go into the next stitch over on my thumb and the first chain on my, oh, I'm off camera there, sorry. I'm going to go into the next stitch over on my thumb and the first chain of my thumb hole. And I'm going to grab my yarn and I'm going to pull it through both. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to go into the next chain, grab my yarn and pull it through both. And so we're just slip stitching this. Sorry, this is really hard to get on camera. I'm just slip stitching all the way around to join these together. All right, so I zoomed in here to try to show you a little bit better. So I'm gonna go into my thumb, or thumb hat, as we're now calling it, and then into my mitten hole, my thumb hole on my mitten. Goodness. Grab the yarn, pull it through to complete a slip stitch. I'm recording this on a Friday just before Christmas, and I think my brain has turned off. I'm sorry, guys. So you're just going to do this all the way around. And then when you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch around this, and then you're going to turn, flip your thumb this way, and slip stitch all of this together. So you're just slip stitching through here. Alright, so for some of you, this might be the end of the road. You make a second mitten and you're all set. For some of you, you might want to add a cuff. So again, this is an adult mitten, you have the option of adding this cuff to the end of your mitten. So to do that, we're simply going to turn our mitten upside down. Top of our mitten is pointing toward us, and the bottom is where we will be working. We're going to grab whatever color you'd like. I used the first color that I started with, color A, and you're just going to attach the yarn to where your seam is. And the easiest thing to do, if you still have this yarn end, is just tie them together. Tie them together, and then you can go into your beginning chain, grab the yarn and pull it through. All right, now what we're going to be doing is working in the round around the bottom of our mitten. We're going to chain 2 and back post double crochet around each stitch. So you're just going to chain 2 and you're going to back post double crochet all the way around. So just like that all the way. All right, so for the next round of the cuff, round 2, you can see I've skipped ahead and grabbed a finished mitten here. This is an adult mitten. You're just going to be front post double crocheting, back post double crocheting all the way around, just alternating front post, back post, and it's going to create this beautiful stretchy rib effect to your cuff. And you can go as long as you want. I put recommended length. Okay, so that is it for me. I really hope that you found this video tutorial helpful with the pattern. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is lakesidaloops@gmail.com. And don't forget, I also have a Watson waffle sock pattern, a hat pattern that goes with these mittens as well, and a cardigan, or it can also be a shawl. Check it out on my blog. Thanks guys, take care.